Okay, everybody, I promised that I would come and show you another 2 blocks from the schoolgirl sampler quilt. This is going to be number 41 and 42. I calculated, and if we do 2 blocks every Monday, excluding Labor Day, because I won't be here on Labor Day, we're going to finish this process on December 12th. So it sounds like it's far away. That's not so far away, people. I'm excited to get this going and see how everybody lays their quilts out, and the process that you guys are all going through. Literally, this is meet me at the sewing machine. Usually we start over at the cutting table, but today it's going to be short and sweet because my mind is in my van headed to Wisconsin. When you guys see this, because Peter's going to schedule this to upload on Monday, when you see this, I will be in Wisconsin, and maybe I'll put something on our Facebook page telling y'all, what's going on. But as for today, I just kind of wanted to come in, get these 2 blocks done, and lo and behold, one of these blocks is my very favorite block in the whole book, and that is this Flying Geese one. Number 41 is actually my favorite block in the whole book. So I'm excited to share that with you. If you've been doing potato chip blocks, I'm just saying, I had my things all laid out to show you my potato chip blocks that I was gonna, my red, white, and blue ones, and I forgot it. I forgot my book. This is a book out of the bookcase. I forgot my blocks. I mean, I'm telling you, my head and my intentions are on the road already. So I'm sorry about that. But
it must be Friday.
No, it's Monday. Oh yeah, it is Friday.
Because we're filming on Friday, but we're gonna post it on Monday.
This is Friday.
So today's Friday.
Yes.
We got weekend brain.
How confusing is all of that? And one other thing is, I got to tell you, today is Gizzy and Biscuit's birthday. Happy birthday, Gizzy and Biscuit.
Happy birthday.
They are Chloe's cousins. They're my dogs. So they're just 2 little old men that just sit around doing nothing but being sweet. So we're going to start out this Flying Geese block number 41. I just love it. Look at Cappy's block, how fun it is. Not only did she use different geese, she used different wings for each one. Now in the book, they did the same thing. They used different backgrounds and different geese. Now me, on mine, because I'm using my Peter fabric, I found a fabric that's kind of close, and I'm just going to alternate them. It kind of gives the same look, but yet it still makes my blocks cohesive with the rest of my blocks, okay? So, to start out with, if you're doing potato chip blocks, this is just exactly like the Flying Geese that we make to create our star points on our potato chip blocks. And we're going to start out with the geese color. We're going to put the square on. And I know you guys have done this before. You would draw a line if you didn't have the tape. Remember that tape that we sell, that quick, let me get some so I can show it to you. Pluck, pluck, sew, diagonal seam tape. I'm taking 2 packages with me to the retreat because I know people are going to want to put it on their machine.
They're going to see you use it.
Yeah, they're going to see me use it.
What's that? I want to use that.
Yeah. So I'm going to take 2 rolls so I have some to share because everybody's going to want that. And then everybody's going to come and want to see and use my clapper. So I'm going to take all 3 of my clappers with me. So
do you have your names written on all 3?
I'm going to have my names written. Yesterday, I washed all my rulers. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I washed all my rulers. I made sure my name was on all of them. And I took my checklist and I made a copy. Actually, I went to the computer and got a fresh new checklist. And you can get that on the Creative Grid website. You can get a wish. It's called the wish list. And what it is every ruler and a little box beside it so you can check off which ones you already have. So I went and made a list of all the rulers I'm taking with me. Because if somebody borrows one, you better believe I'm going to know about it.
You're going to track it down.
I'll be tracking them down.
It's going to be CSI Dawn.
You know me. And so
she'll make an announcement on the loudspeaker.
Exactly.
Dawn's missing the CTG.
Now, Peter, do you think that Dawn needs a loudspeaker?
No.
No.
Well, I didn't know how big the building is.
Yeah, well, there's 25.
How many floors?
Yeah, how many floors? Anyway, it's gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna be taking 10 times more than I really need, but you know, that's how life is. Okay, now, you know, when you make these flying geese units and you put that diagonal piece on, we've talked about this before. I don't start down here at the point. I always start up here where there's fabric behind me so it doesn't pull down into the faceplate of the machine. And I cut that first wing off because if I didn't, before I put the second one on, this first one would be sewn down and I wouldn't be able to flip it back. So go ahead and do that. You do one side at a time, but don't do one whole goose at a time. Go ahead and strip piece. Go ahead and just keep piecing them, all 8 of them. There's going to be 8 of them. So you pick out 8 different backgrounds. And if you've been doing it like I have been and just cutting strips off your fabrics, when I went into my pile, I had strips. I'm not going to tell you the size. Sorry, I almost told you the size. I had these size strips already cut because I had been saving them back. So, and I'm just alternating the backgrounds there and paying attention. So I'm ready to put my second wing on. And I'm just going to put that right up too. Now, we're not sewing a 1/4 inch away from the diagonal. We are actually sewing on the diagonal. Anytime we add a connecting corner, we actually sew on the diagonal. See how I sewed right on it. If I were making a 1/2 square triangle, I'd be sewing a 1/4 of an inch away from the diagonal. That gets confusing sometimes. What'd you do this week, Peter?
What week are we in?
I don't know. We're August. Well, I know that today's August the 19th because that's Gizzy and Biscuit's birthday. And Chloe's birthday was Wednesday. It's just been birthday month all over the place.
So on Wednesday, I did horseback riding.
Yeah.
I'm working with Roy, who's a white Appaloosa.
Ooh.
He's about 20 years old, and I've been riding him for the last 2 years on Wednesdays. And I've been working with him on trotting and cantering and keeping a consistent pace.
So
and not
does he
not
need to
slowing
learn
down
that,
at the
or do
gate.
you need to learn that?
Well, it's kind of a both. It's a relationship because he needs a certain amount of ask to do the task, and then I need to make sure that I provide the certain amount of ask so he'll complete the task.
Are you the only one that rides him, or are other people riding him too?
You know, I think I'm the only one.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. So I've made my other flying geese units because I didn't think you wanted to sit here all day and watch me make flying geese units. They don't take that long. Look, I've made 2 in just this little bit of time. But because I've got my last one in my sewing machine, and to get it out, I would need a beginner and an ender. I'm going to go to my second block and go ahead and start on it. So I'm going to, again, sew in rows. I've got it laid out just exactly the way it goes. This block is called the window pane, and it does look like a window pane. Do windows still have panes? I think they have those fake ones that are like, windows now are insulated, so there's 2 windows, and I think there's like fake panes in between. I don't think they still make wooden windows, do they?
I don't know.
I don't really know either. I'm not in the window business.
I'm not either.
Yeah. I know we have to buy a couple new windows for the house, for our old house.
Does it have window panes?
Well, it's going to have new B windows or whatever that company is that's going to do the windows. So anyway, now I'm going to work on both blocks. I'm going to work on my window pane. I'm going to work this. And I'm just going to start working in my rows. So here I've got my flying geese set up. And let me tell you a little bit about my thought process. Color has temperature. There's a warm side of the color wheel, which is the sunshiny colors. The red hot, the yellow sun, the orange sunset. You know, those are the colors of the warm side of the color wheel. And then there's a cool side, the ocean side, where there's the blues, the grays, the green blues, the blues that are kind of the greeny blues, the violety colors. So what I have done, sometimes violet can be warm also if it's a red violet. So what I've done is I've kind of done alternate warm, cool. So here's a cool, warm, warm, cool, cool, warm, warm, cool. This way it gives my eye something. I know it's what do you call that, Peter, where it speaks to you but you're not aware of it. It's oh, I can't think of the word I want to say, but it makes the block more balanced, even though you don't really in your mind say, oh look, she spread out the warms and the cools.
Not cognizant of it?
Yes, it's not something that you're aware of. It's just something that I did because I know about color. It's something that I did in my mind to distribute the interest and distribute the color in the block.
Is it,
Boy, that was deep.
Does that create, I don't know if I'm going to choose the right words, but to create color harmony?
It is to create harmony, Peter. That's the exact word. That is the exact word. There are several elements to color theory that is about harmony. And distributing the values, distributing the temperatures, that's all about the harmony of the block. Boy, that's a whole lesson in its own.
I love color.
I love color theory. You know, that's
I
my
love
background.
color theory. I'm not great at it. I got basic concepts of it, but it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's a whole different language. It
really is.
And when I would go to art school, that's one of my favorite things was when we would discuss color theory.
I think when I heard this, it really resonated with me. If you ever look at a white building in the shade, then you can figure out what color theory is all about. If you look at a white building with the sun beaming on it, it's going to look different than a white building that's in the shade, especially a farm building. And then when somebody said that, that's when it made sense. Like parts of color theory made sense. And in photography, we have, warm,
definitely.
warm or cool.
Yes.
And you can adjust to scene warm or cool too.
Yes. The way I tell my students to think about warm and which is warm and which is cool is, when you go into the frozen food department, the word frozen is usually printed in blue. And when you go into the hot sauce department, the word hot sauce or the word hot is usually always in red. But I like the analogy of the sun and the ocean because to me, the sun is the hot colors, the warm, hot colors. Where when you go into the ocean, everything is kind of cool and the grass and that kind of thing. So when I taught my students, that's the analogy I would use.
That's a very good analogy.
Yeah, because to me, color is all about the feelings that it evokes. Red also represents anger. Red in the face. Have you ever heard that expression, Peter? Red in the face because you're angry.
Yeah.
So also it evokes a lot of emotion, like Cappy's blocks are happy, very, very happy. Her color palette is bright, cheery. My palette tends to be more, I'm not going to say not happy, I'm going to say serious. Okay, so my colors, even though they're the same colors, see, she's got blue in hers, and I've got blue in mine, and she's got pink in hers. My pink is over here, and I've got pink in mine. The colors are the same, but it's the temperature and the intensity, which is another word in color theory. How did we get on color theory today, Peter? It just happened, didn't it?
Just happens.
But see, she has green. She doesn't have much green. Well, a little bit. But I understand that we have the same colors, but they don't look the same at all. And the thing that affects color is its temperature, its value, how light and dark it is, and its intensity, how bright or dull it is. You know, we ought to maybe have sometime a little color theory video. That'd be fun.
You know, it makes a huge difference in your quilting when you're picking out colors. If you're cognizant of what Dawn just mentioned, you can really make an impact visually with those decisions.
Exactly. You can really bump up, especially if it's an artsy quilt and you're not following a pattern and you kind of want to do things on your own. A little bit of color theory knowledge is helpful. Or let's say, for instance, cross stitch even. You know, you've got a cross stitch pattern. You kind of like the concept, but you don't appreciate the colors that they use. So you want to change it up a little bit. You want to make it, maybe I want to make something that's really, really flamboyant or bold and colorful, and maybe I want to tone it down a little bit and make it a little more primitive. Well, because I know about color theory and intensity, I can do that without a problem. Some people, that's a big issue for them.
I think a good example of that is on our YouTube channel, on our punch needle series that you've been doing, because on some of those you've made design choices and changed the color of the flosses that we're using because of a certain feeling you wanted to evoke.
Right.
And that on those punch
floss
needles,
choices,
yes.
yeah, those floss choices do make a difference in how it feels and how it's represented.
Or what colors, especially when you have one color sitting right next to another color.
Yeah. How to make them stand out, how to give them contrast. Yeah, that's all color theory. And you know, some color theory just comes naturally. You may not think that you know color theory, but some color theory comes very natural.
What's your favorite color, Dawn?
Green, of course.
Hey, what's your least favorite?
I would think
the color you never wear.
I would say orange. Orange, except for at Halloween. I do have a orange t-shirt that's Halloween, but yeah, orange and black I'd wear together, but orange is probably my least favorite color, and then yellow. Yellow is my least favorite color to manipulate because it's so hard to it either turns green, or it turns brown, or I mean, it's a really hard color to manipulate. So anyway, so now I've got all the rows sewed together on both of my blocks. So now I'm just going to flip my blocks over. Now, what's fun about the Flying Geese block is there's no points to match. There seems to match, but you would think with as many points as this Flying Geese block has, that you'd be matching up points, but you don't. There's just seams to match. So there's not really a lot of pinning. I am going to stick my finger down on that seam, make sure that seam stays flat. Now, talking about my mind being in the van already and on the way to Wisconsin, I'm picking up my friend Tammy. You guys all remember Tammy. We did a video together on Meet Me at the Sew Machine where Tammy came. And anyway, I'm going to meet her at the airport. Pick her up at the airport tomorrow. So that she doesn't have to fly with her sewing machine and all of her stuff, I'm packing double. Everything double. So I have 2 sewing machines, 2 cutting mats. She's going to use one of my clappers. She's going to use one of my rulers. You know, scissors. Everything is double. Double, double, double. So that's been interesting to pack all that. Double, double, double. Okay. I'm just lining up these strips that I've already sewn.
Would you say it's double boiling trouble?
I would say there's going to be lots of trouble. I was just telling Virginia.
Does she embrace your blue tape magic?
She does. Now, that's funny that we were talking the other day. We always choose to sit across from each other so that we can see each other and talk to each other that way.
And you have your elbow space.
Yeah, and well, I was asking Cappy, I said, now how do you and Lenine? She says, I never thought of it. They never thought about it. She says, we just sit where we're told.
I think if I came with somebody, now that I think about it, I'd sit next to them.
You would? And why is that?
I don't know. I think sitting across would feel like they're too far away.
Okay, so
that's my reasoning. That's my thought.
When you go out to dinner with your wife, do you sit next to her or across from her?
At a dinner table across from, but in a booth, if we can get a booth, I like sitting next to her.
Okay.
In a booth.
Okay, I'm going to show you.
Because we have to have elbow room, man.
Yeah.
At a table.
I'm going to show you.
But see, on a booth, there's plenty of elbow space because you can scoot down the booth. Okay, show me something.
Look at this. That is not acceptable to me.
I can't get in there.
Let me get
my chair's stuck.
Look right here. That is not acceptable to me. No, don't trim it because if you trim it, that's only 1/8 of an inch right there.
Lose the point?
I would, if I came in 1/4 of an inch, I'd be losing my point. And look over here, it's off. Look at how far off it is. It's about 1/8 of an inch off there. Even though I pinned it, I wasn't paying attention. I don't think I pinned it very well.
And this one looks different right here, where that point is in relation to this point right here.
Well, that's
I don't know why.
That's because this point, that's a good observation, Peter, because this point here has been encompassed by this 1/4 inch, quarter inch seam. This one doesn't have its 1/4 inch seam, see? So once this gets its 1/4 inch seam, its point's going to be clear up there. See that? So
and then
that's
when it
why
gets
they
sewn
look
into
different.
the block, then
it'll all come together. Yeah, because then this will all be encompassed in the seam allowance. So some people do get confused with that. They see this left over. They see this portion right here, and they think, oh, I've done something wrong. When in reality, you haven't. This one hasn't been sewn in yet on this side, and then when they both get sewn in on that side, that will take up that. But I am not going to take up the time in the video today to take that apart, but you better believe as soon as the video's over, I'm taking that apart and re-sewing it. So, okay? But just know that if that's acceptable to you and you're fine with that, being like that, and you know that you can only take 1/8 of an inch seam, fine, but your block's not going to be 4.5 inch square. Just saying. Just saying that it is worth ripping out the seam. Should we go over seam ripping?
Yeah.
It's been a while. You know, I had a lady on this
Yeah,
last
you never
video.
know who's going to be seeing the video for the first time and be like, oh, hey, that's a really good idea.
Right. We had a lady visit the channel and wanted to know what the clapper was, the last video. So yeah, we do have newcomers come in all the time. So I think I will. I think I'll show you how to rip this seam snazzy. I'm going to unpress it because I pressed it open. I'm going to unpress it. Now, seam rippers
I'm impressed that you unpressed it.
Oh, you did? You are?
Yeah, I'm impressed that you unpressed it.
I like this seam ripper because it doesn't roll.
I don't think I would have thought of unpressing it, but it makes sense now that I see you do that.
Yeah. I like this Clover seam ripper. It's very sharp. It's very thin, but I like it because it doesn't roll off the table. So that's why this is my favorite seam ripper. Not that it's any better than any, but it just has those two elements.
Mine is round. I can never find it, so I always look on the floor, and there it is.
There it is. Okay. I'm going to unstitch like a couple of stitches. And the reason that I rip like this, use my seam ripper like this, is because I lower my stitch length usually. I'm usually sewing at a 190. So you can see I opened a couple of those stitches. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my seam ripper inside my seam with this little red ball. Have you ever wondered what that little red ball was for? Well, I'm going to show you.
I couldn't figure out why it was on there.
Yeah, I'm going to show you right now. It separates the fabric as you're cutting the thread. It keeps your fabric out of the way. So what I'm doing is I'm inserting that between the seam. So the ball is to the bottom of the seam and the long part is to the top of the seam. And in between my fingers, I can feel. And I'm just going to move my fingers along that seam. And that little ball is going to separate my fabrics. So I'm kind of pushing that ball up to the seam because the ball is what separates the fabrics. You see that? And then lickety split, I've got a seam that is unsewn. So let's try that again. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to. You want to just, you know, get out your old...
Get the whiskers.
Little threads out.
The thread whiskers.
Yeah, thread whiskers. Thread whiskers. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Now what happens if I try it again and it doesn't work out?
You unrip it again.
Yeah, maybe.
Or you sew it a different direction.
Maybe.
Or you turn it upside down the other way.
Jennifer, you know what's funny? That one lady that I sent one of those.
Do not be sticking your pins in your mouth. Now remember, I only pinned it on that one right there. I only used one pin. I'm going to use more than one pin this time. I'm going to put a pin there, and then I am going to put a pin. And it may be a case that this wing is really off. But it fits much better this time. See that? Look.
Yeah.
It fits much better this time. So let's try this. And if you just want to leave it, you can. You're the boss of your own quilt. We have a cross stitch that says that. I'm gonna stitch that up right now. You know, because it's the truth. You are the boss of your own quilt.
Are you gonna put that in your sampler?
I think I'm gonna put it on my tombstone. What just fell?
The top to your.
Oh, okay.
Your.
Oh yeah, my seam ripper. Thank you. Because I would have been looking for that. Okay, now this one came out much better. Somebody else asked, why do I open my seams? And that's because I want my blocks to lay flat.
And they lay flat,
And
let
they
me tell
do.
you.
That's another reason why I use the clapper. Now the clapper is supposed to go like that. And you're supposed to wait a few minutes while the heat of the iron, of the wood, I'm sorry, takes the heat out of here and presses it. And look at how flat that lays. See that? I didn't use it with that seam, so it doesn't lay as flat. You can use starch with your clapper if you want to. I don't necessarily do that unless I've got a stubborn seam. Alrighty, let's sew this piece together, and then we'll have our last line of our flying geese block. Now don't forget, I know I teased you last week or Monday. I teased you about my travel. Hey Cappy, can you bring me your travel case? I teased you about we're going to do a tutorial on this travel case, and it inspired Cappy. You know, Lenine had one. Now I have one. Well, Kathy has to have
I
one.
don't want to be left out.
She doesn't want to be left out. So look, she made a Tula pink one, and I'm telling you what, she took it up a notch. She doesn't like Velcro, and so she, her sewing machine does good buttonholes, and so she has these flamingo buttons. Crazy woman.
I know.
And look at how cute that is. See, and she's got the pockets, the pockets, the pockets. Hey, look what you did. I'm going to do that with my other one. Now, on the instructions, it says to bring the seam up to here so that you have pocket, 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 pocket. But she made a big pocket, 2 medium pockets, and then little pockets. I'm going to do that. See how we can inspire each other?
But here's how you have to do it. You have to sew this pocket to this pocket with just these.
Right,
two.
right.
Then you sew this one to that one.
I will
with
be
that one.
showing that in my demo. Thank
And then
you.
you sew them to the back.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta do it in the right order.
In steps. You got to do it in steps. We'll show all that on our video. See, that's not in the pattern.
Yeah.
So that's why you turn into the channel, is so you can learn all these nifty.
I didn't want them all the
tricks.
same size.
Yeah. Well, no, who would? You've got stuff. Well, she's even got stuff.
Oh, I started
She's
putting
got
stuff in
her
them already.
stuff in them
It's gonna go with me. Guess where it's going with me?
I bet it's going to the retreat.
Does that
with
fit?
you.
I didn't try that yet.
Yeah, let's see. This is what it's made for. Look at that. Look at that. I love it. I just love it, Cappy.
What's the back?
I just
I
love it.
that. I love that back.
And then here,
That's
she
the-
used 2 different fabrics, and in the pattern it uses all one fabric.
That's the fabric from our unboxing video, isn't it?
Hey, when you work at the quilt store, you get the brand new stuff right away. Hey, I almost gave her my mat. she wasn't going to say a word.
How long
wasn't
would you?
gonna
How
say a
long would that
word.
have that taken you to notice it was missing?
I would have taken it to the retreat. and given it back to
Should
her.
we make Tammy one?
We could.
You know, Lenine's going to have one. You're going to have one. I'm going to have
Surely
one.
she doesn't still have one from her store.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, do you want me to make it or are you gonna make it?
Well, my suitcase, my sewing machine is packed. I bet yours is too.
No, not yet.
I'll make it at the retreat.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, we'll use some fabric. We'll let her choose the fabric, and we'll
There you
make
go.
it at the
But
retreat.
she'll want what she
Yeah,
wants. But
she
she
will.
won't have flamingo buttons like I do.
No, she won't. She won't have buttons. Period. If I'm making it.
I know. I just don't like Velcro. It's ugh.
Yeah, that was special. Okay, it still came off just a tad bit. I think this wing is wacky. Okay, so
You think that wing's a little longer?
I think that wing is a little bit off. Let me measure this. 4.5. This is a 4.5 inch ruler. Yeah, look, that wing stick. Look at that. Can they see that? That wing is wacky, and that's what's causing me all kinds of trouble. So
Are
I'm
you
going to
gonna
make
clip its
sure.
wing?
I am going to clip it. I'm going to make sure that that is 1/4 of an inch, though, inside my block.
Hey, Dawn.
Yep,
On this retreat you're going to, did you
Yep.
put in all new rotary blades?
I did.
Okay.
How did you know?
Well, I just wondered.
Yep,
I wondered if that was on your checklist.
I certainly did. I put them in mine and
I'd hate to
Tammy's.
be at a retreat and then have a not new
I
rotary
know.
blade.
Well, and I go with rotary blades too. I mean, I take them with me in case I nick one or, you know.
That would be horrible to
Yeah.
nick something.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna. That was my problem. Was not that my seams weren't matching up, but what that my wing was off a little bit. That happens. That happens. That's why you measure. Okay, I'm gonna put this on, and then we'll be done with 2 more blocks. The flying geese.
I gotta find my book. I don't know what I did with my book.
Is that the reason you
'Cause
haven't
I
been
was-
making blocks?
No, summer is why I haven't been making blocks.
Oh, you've been busy.
I need to find that book though, because I was trying to figure out how many blocks I need to catch up on, because it goes so fast.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you wouldn't
You
think
blink
2
and it's
blocks a
like,
week
it's
would be
done.
that, but they do go fast.
when you get your 2 blocks done, you're like, well, I don't want to be done sewing.
wanna
I
be
want to make
done.
more. I don't know what to do with my book.
Okay. Well, if all else fails, you know where to get
I'll
another
buy
copy.
another. Yeah, I'll buy. It's worth having. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, now I'm going to do another leader and ender so I can get this other one out of my sewing machine so I can press them both at the same time. And my ones I made at home, they're so pretty. Trust me, they're really pretty. I just walked right out. I had them sitting on the coffee
You know what
table
I just
ready to walk out
realized?
the door.
You know what I just realized?
What?
You have on a top that uses that indigo junction pattern, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yep, I believe, yes, because I made that same top for my wife.
Oh, really?
I know that pattern by the back of my hand. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
It's her favorite top because
I think Happy gave me this.
it's very free flowing.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show it on camera. It's got like pleats in the back.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, like right
think
underneath
Happy
the
made this
shoulders.
one.
Yeah, it's her favorite pattern too.
Yeah, she made me this. Well, she didn't make it for me. She just gave it to me.
I entered mine into the fair,
And?
and it did good.
Good.
This was last year though.
Good.
I didn't make another one for this year. I thought about it, but I didn't do it.
Well, we have all that tulip fabric. Tulip
Oh, that
quilt
would look
fabric.
so good in tulip fabric.
This is not cotton, is it? Is
It's
this
rayon.
Yeah, this has got
Mhm.
some rayon in it. So
Rayon sews really wonderfully too.
Does it?
Surprisingly, it does.
I don't make many garments. I've made a dress. I've made a couple shirts, but
Well, anymore, it's everybody's got that thing they like to make. That's
well,
that's nice.
and it comes with the seasons. I mean, there's different seasons. You make different things. I'm really into putting zippers in right now. Everything that has a zipper in it, I'm all about that. But anyway, here's our blocks for this week.
Hold
The
them up.
flying geese and the window pane. Now look at how Cappy has the night sky in her window pane. Is she clever or what? She is super clever. I have a field of grass. Actually, if you're in Indiana, this would be, what are those beans called that are growing right now? Soybeans.
Soy.
Mine is looking out at a soybean field, and Cappy's is looking out.
Okay,
at the
do you know
night
what
sky.
would be in my window pane?
What? Horse barn?
I would fussy cut horses.
Yeah.
And stick it in the window pane.
Yeah, and the horses would be looking out like what's that? Ed?
Feed me.
That Ed horse that used to talk. He could be looking out one of the window panes. And then this is my favorite block. I just think that block is just so attractive. And I love that we used all different fabrics in that. Lots of good interest. I hope it didn't bore you too bad that we got into a little bit of color theory. But there it is, the block. And it does look different right there until it gets sewn in. See, the points don't come together. Well, they will once that 1/4 inch is sewn in. So that was a good thing to take note of. See, you still have a 1/4 inch over here too. So happy sewing, everybody. I will post some things on the Facebook page while we're at retreat, and I'll make Cappy do
Fun.
the same, so that we won't be strangers when I
I need
get
you to
home.
take a picture of your sewing area with your blue painter's tape.
Okay, and everybody's pincushion. Remember I said I was going to go
Uh-huh.
around and take a picture of everybody's
Yes,
pincushion?
yes, and everybody's pincushion.
Yeah, I'll do that too. So that'll be fun. And I guess I'll see you back. I will actually, you will see me on the 22nd, and then we'll be back from retreat on the 29th. So look forward to that. Everybody have a good week. Get to sewing. Bye-bye.
Bye.